Children are more at risk from the viral epidemic currently spreading across the southern province. The number of deaths reported due to the virus is 12 and all of them are children. In a backdrop where arresting this health crisis has become a struggle, health officials said on Saturday that influenza virus H3N2 is at the center of the epidemic. Post-mortem examinations performed on the deceased have revealed that this virus is not alone in causing the deaths. Health officials believe that influenza virus H3N2 infected patients as the primary virus, while other types of bacteria or viruses also contributed as secondary infections. Accordingly, once a patient is infected with the influenza virus, secondary viruses infects the patient a few weeks later.
We received results from the Medical Research Institute of Sri Lanka which indicate a combination of viruses being in the system of the deceased patients. We noticed that mostly adenoviruses and respiratory syncytial viruses are in the system. We saw that influenza virus had also affected their systems.
Dr. Vijay Surya also went on to say that there are no vaccinations for several of these viruses.
The problem here is that there are no vaccines for adenoviruses and RSV, but influenza, of course, has vaccines. There are different types of influenza viruses each year, so vaccines also change each year. But the Health Ministry had decided not to distribute these vaccines because of the number of patients we have at the moment.
Meanwhile, health officials attached to the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital in Galle say that the number of beds at the Paediatric Intensive Care Unit at the hospital is inadequate to treat critically ill children.
Teaching Hospital Karapitiya is the only pediatric ICU in the southern province. Number of patients also increased, therefore the complicated cases also increase. Those complicated cases should be treated at the ICU setup because in treatment we need the ventilator facility. A ventilator facility we cannot give in the ward setup, we need the ICU setup. That's why we request increase the ICU facilities. It's a must for this situation.
We inquired on the matter from the Provincial Director of Health Services.
Karapitiya Teaching Hospital is the largest and the busiest hospital in the southern province. It also attracts patients from the Sabaragamu and Uva provinces. There are only 7 beds in the ICU and specialists requested more beds because of the increased number of patients. Under the President's instructions, the Ministry of Health is now going to provide 6 extra beds for the ICU.
Meanwhile, attending a meeting at the Ministry of Health yesterday, President Maithripala Sirisena said necessary money will be provided to control the health crisis.
Among the issues you mentioned, you talked about the need to purchase necessary medical equipment. If you give me a list of equipment you need, I could present it to the Cabinet this week for approval. We can immediately purchase them if these equipment are available in the country. If the Ministry or the Provincial Council need any funds, let me know, so I can allocate money. You can then buy equipment which don't need the process of tenders, but give me the list of equipment that need the tender process for the Cabinet's approval.